Good evening and welcome to the Ivy League of Legends Open League Championship match. I am Malphus X and I am joined by Danya Harold here, and we will be bringing you the games tonight. Danya, oh actually, sorry, I have a little Skype reset here. There we go. Now I'm being joined by Danya Harold here. And, we're in this game here between Georgia Tech and the University of Arizona. Danya, talk to me. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling okay. I mean, the Skype call just dropped suddenly as we were beginning the stream, so I was a little scared for a moment. But I think that was because we had a few too many people in the call, so we had to redo that. So, all things are good and well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I actually haven't gotten to see any of these teams in the Open League, but, I mean, just looking at some of the players we've got here, looks like we've got some pretty stiff competition. So I'm hoping we're going to be getting something right along the lines of what we saw previously in the Premier League. So, these are the Open League teams, so supposedly they're not the top team from each school, but I don't know. I mean, these guys look like they might be pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly. Second division doesn't mean second tier. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some intense action out of both these teams, and if they give me anything less, I am going to, basically go crazy. So, yeah, there it is. I'm just going to go ahead and call it.
Craziness is not acceptable, so we'll have to make sure they give us some top-tier performance. We're seeing some interesting bans come out here. I just want to go ahead and point out the IvyLoL first pick ban there. It's not something you've been seeing lately after her most recent round of nerfs. It seemed like Morello had finally managed to crush her underneath his foot, but I guess not. Someone doesn't like the IvyLoL. I'm kind of curious why that ban's coming out. I don't know if we have a specific IvyLoL player on the other team, or if it's just someone doesn't feel like they're very comfortable in that matchup.
Yeah. Actually, is there a way that you could turn down your in-game a little bit? It's coming through the...
Yeah, I'll go ahead and catch that fast.
Cool. All right, so yeah, exactly. I kind of wonder if that's a targeted ban. Actually, we're seeing Jax and Karthus being banned away here. These feel like targeted bans. Unfortunately, I will say I haven't had an opportunity to check out any VODs or catch these teams playing. So I'm not really sure. I haven't looked. Maybe they just did some match history scouting or something like that. And Blitzcrank ban. Interesting. I like it. But obviously that ban could have been pretty advantageous against UT Austin, as we saw last last Sunday. They had a pretty sick Blitzcrank player who actually ended up out killing his AD carry, his Graves that he had with him in the second game. He had like 6 kills to Graves' 2 or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a Blitzcrank who picks up some AP, you're going to see a lot of damage coming out of that. So if you're not careful, all of a sudden that Blitz hook and combo can actually do a lot of damage. And suddenly you're racking up the kills.
Absolutely, yeah. So Kennen, a band that's a little bit closer to the mainstream, and Lee Sin, obviously a very, very standard band we see all the time. Jax, Karthus, IvyLoL, a little bit less so, but taking those champions out of the hands of the right players, can definitely be the right move. But it does leave this interesting situation where so many champions that we do see banned so very often are now available, and it looks like Georgia Tech is going to go ahead and pick up the first one of these in Shen.
Yeah, I mean, and then we've got the Janna pickup right here for the purple team, potentially. I don't like to finalize my thoughts until they actually lock in. Janna is a really strong support. She's got just so much versatility that first pick Janna I think is absolutely legitimate. Absolutely,
I mean she goes with almost any team comp. The utility she brings to any team is unbelievable with her ultimate, able to disengage all sorts of fights. She has a big stack of CC, and her shield can really put an AD carry into overdrive very, very soon. So obviously Janna, just works so well with so many comps that if you're going to first pick your support, Janna's a pretty safe bet no matter where you're going.
Yeah, we do see the Udyr pickup as well. That's a champion who's got a lot of versatility. He can go to the top lane or the jungle, and he's really strong in both. That's what's really interesting about him, is that he's a top-tier champion in both lane and jungle. So, again, a really safe, strong pick there that doesn't really give too much away to the blue team here.
Absolutely, yeah. University of Arizona, they definitely have their poker face on right now. They're showing them Janna, they're showing them Udyr. They're not really letting them know anything about what kind of comp they're trying to build. I mean, at this point, they could literally go for anything. And they're just kind of waiting it out to see what Georgia Tech ends up going for. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and show a Soraka Ashe bottom lane. Interesting.
So that's an interesting lane because it's got a lot of potential to, sustain through any aggression that you're going to try and throw onto it. But at the same time, it does have a lot of poke options with the volley and the silence coming off of Soraka. So, I feel like Georgia Tech does have a lot of possibilities here, and how they can play out that lane depending on the style they want to go for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ash obviously has the ability to do a lot of kiting, a lot of work, and a lot of damage at a pretty decent range. And the only thing that's really limiting that, well, there's basically two things that limit Ash's ability to kite. It's her move speed and her mana. And, with Soraka there, she's not going to have any problems with mana. So it's all going to be about if she's able to pick up, get her boots too relatively quickly and use that to try to kite around. It looks like we're going to be seeing an MF, and I think that's a fantastic pickup against this lane. Anytime you can run MF against a team that's looking to do a lot of work with healing, say in the form of Dr. Mundo, with a Soraka, any sort of situation like that with a Vladimir, any sort of situation like that, MF is a very, very solid pick. And I think that this bottom lane could get a bit scary for Georgia Tech here.
Yeah, I mean, MF is just such a really strong early game ADK that she's going to be able to put the pressure on right from level 1. Her level 1 stats are basically among the very best for the AD carries, and so that gives her a lot of ability to win those early trades just by dint of how much damage she can do. So I feel like that the playing style for Georgia Tech here is going to have to be a little bit more passive. I mean, that's an aggressive combination with Janna and Misfortune.
Absolutely. I mean, straight up almost kill lane potential, really, which with Janna, you kind of don't think of her as being a kill lane support, but especially if they maybe take that heal off MF, maybe throw the ignite on her and give Janna an exhaust, it could be something that we might see that's a lane I've run before in solo queue, just as a straight up kill lane and done really, really well. So we'll see what they end up going for here. But the Jarvan pickup as well. Jarvan and Udyr, those are those two champions that can very easily jungle or go top lane and fulfill both roles about equally well. I think Udyr is just a tad stronger at both positions than Jarvan, but it all depends on the playstyle, and we'll see who ends up going where.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got that Nocturne pickup potentially here for Georgia Tech. Nocturne is one of those junglers who you're only ever going to see in the jungler. I mean, because he's got that ultimate, which is just basically nothing but a gank. That's like its purpose in life. And so I feel like that's a good pickup, regardless of the predictability of it. Then we also have that Twisted Fate pickup. Twisted Fate is a really strong AP mid. If you're able to land your skill shots, you're going to do massive amounts of damage, and he's got a lot of map control that he offers. But the counter pick I'm seeing here, I think, is pretty interesting with the Kassadin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, TF is not really capable of stopping Kassadin from farming. Like, once Kassadin gets 2 or 3 levels in his queue, 2 or 3 ranks in that null sphere, TF is going to have to give ground. He's going to have to back away, and he's going to have to just allow Kassadin to CS, because if he doesn't, he's going to lose that trade every single time. And as Kassadin gets more and more farmed, I honestly feel like he's going to start doing more and more work for his team. And TF, all I could say is TF is going to have to be really on top of these ganks. If he's not able to execute with these ganks, I think Georgia Tech might be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, their mid lane is going to really rely on the ability of TF to roam. So he's got a lot of ability to push the lane with his, throwing his 3 cards. That clears minion waves fairly effectively, along with his red card. But the problem that he's going to have is that if Kassadin follows him, I feel like Kassadin's got a lot of ability to shut TF down in a fight.
Mm-hmm. And just a couple interesting things I want to talk about really quick. As soon as the summoners go into the loading screen, we can take down the summoner blockers. Okay, so there they are. Summoner blockers coming down, which is the right button. There we go. Okay, I just want to point out that Arizona did not run any sort of summoner teleport to try to deal with the Shen split, the inevitable Shen split push. I mean, he's inevitably at some point he's going to find a lane. He's going to go down the bottom lane while they're potentially threatening Baron and try to force the people down. And then if the fight does start while he's gone, he's going to ult in. And they don't have any way to really stop that by not taking any summoner teleports. The other thing that's really interesting is that Shen himself is actually running teleport. So what this is going to allow them to do is whenever TF does go in for these bottom lane ganks, Shen is just going to be able to ult on top of him and follow up and turn that into a 4-man gank on bottom, and then teleport back to his tower to keep Jarvan from pushing it down. I mean that's a really, really involved counterplay, and I think that's going to have the potential to really work well for them.
Yeah, I feel like they're really going for their complete mobility on Georgia Tech here. We have the Nocturne long-range ultimate, we've got the Twisted Fate long-range ultimate, we've got the Shen global ultimate, the Soraka global ultimate, and the Ashe global ultimate.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see as soon as Ashe hits 6, 5 people to suddenly show up, or maybe they'll wait until Nocturne hits 6. But as soon as Nocturne and Ashe both have their ultimates, I wouldn't be surprised to see 5 people show up in this bottom lane from Georgia Tech. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them just start forcing objectives early, knowing that they can all get there much faster than Arizona can, just because they've just got so much mobility and reach. You know, even if Soraka's across map, she can try and save someone up top. You know, even if Twisted Fate is a little bit out of position, he can relocate very quickly. You know, Shen has the global teleport, Nocturne has his jump, and then that Ashe arrow. I mean, if your Ashe is a good shot, she can do some really, really, really amazing stuns. And you know, if you're hitting someone long range, that's a really long stun.
Absolutely, yeah. It's gonna be pretty interesting. I feel like they're really relying on these big ults and all this stuff to work out. And if they're able to coordinate it just right, it's gonna be very, very powerful. But if their timing, you know, slacks off even just a little bit, you know, Arizona has a lot of like really aggressive champions. Udyr, Jarvan, Kassadin, MF, they're all very, very aggressive champions, like heads up. And I feel like they actually have the advantage in each of their lanes. Like maybe not Jarvan versus Shen. I think that's basically even. It kind of depends on the quality of play. But MF, I feel like, has a slight advantage over Ashe. I feel like Kassadin has a fairly decent advantage over TF. And if Udyr and Nocturne find each other, as long as Udyr has some mana, I don't think that's going to end all that well for Nocturne either, because Nocturne's actually both of them running well, Flash is much more common on Udyr, but Nocturne's actually choosing to run Flash this game instead of Exhaust. And I have to win it. And interestingly enough, Ashe is going to be running Ghost, which I really like. No champion in the game kites like Ashe, and when you have an Ashe that's burning a Summoner Ghost, I mean, she's going to literally be able to kite the entire enemy team with Volley and Frost Shot and just never ever get caught, and that's really, really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. But I definitely have to agree with, I think that in the actual pitched fights, I feel like there's a little bit more power coming out for Arizona here with MF, with Shauna, with Kassadin and Udyr and Jarvan. I feel like they've got a lot of really strong, you know, actually in the fight champions.
Absolutely, yeah. So now we are here in the loading screen, and I have to say the excitement's starting to build up. I'm starting to get pretty pumped. I'm kind of getting a little antsy for this game to start.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and break this down. That unfortunately we do have a pretty massive skin advantage for Arizona here, where it's 4 skins to 1, and the Frozen Terror Nocturne is pretty awesome, but I mean he's up against Dragon Slayer Jarvan, which is a pretty fine skin, Tempest Janna, Harbinger Kassadin, who's even more scary and intimidating than normal Kassadin, and then we've got Candy Cane Misfortune, which is not only limited edition, but also, I don't know.
Pretty darn amazing.
Yeah, pretty fancy. I was just trying to think of a good word that just kind of covered that.
So here we are. We are in the game. Spectator overlays are up, and good things are about to start happening all over the map.
I'm going to go ahead and point out something that I think is a really interesting choice as starting item. Ashe is starting out with the Doran's Blade. Kind of an interesting situation when you're going up against Janna and Misfortune. I really feel like she probably should have started with the Boots and Pots, because I feel like she's going to be putting herself at risk every time she sticks her nose forward, just because she won't have the mobility to get away. She's really slow without boots.
Yeah, I mean, she is a bit slow. She's got one of the lowest base move speeds in the game of only 300, but she's going with the wisdom that if you're starting with Soraka, you have so much sustain anyway that you might as well take the extra last hitting power and extra trade and harass power of having the Doran's Blade. As we take a look at her rune page, she's got the 6 armor pen and 10%. So basically, she's running flat MR blues. Actually, doesn't look like she has any armor. Oh, no, yeah, flat MR blues plus the Soraka passive is going to be good for 60 MR at level 1 for Ashe. That's pretty strong, especially if Kassadin comes to gank. That's going to help out a lot. But yeah, other than that, she's just running a whole lot of flat AD. So looking to get a lot of farm, looking to push this into late game, and you know, just make all the work happen there.
Now, it'll be interesting to see if she's able to do that. She's going to have to be really careful with her positioning. If she's ever caught out, I think she will die extremely quickly.
Yeah. Fortunately, she does outrange MF by a bit. You know, as we take a look at just at their basic attack range, MF at 550, Ashe is sitting at 600. So her basic attack range is longer. Her W, the volley range, is longer. I think even longer than double up's range as well. But so she's gonna have to be really careful with her positioning and take as much advantage of that as she can.
Absolutely. We can see that both teams are helping their junglers out with the start of their routes. So nothing too unexpected going on here. Kassadin, even though he is a melee, he's got that ranged spell he can use to leash. So sometimes you'll get a mid like Scion who like can't leash properly. That always requires just a little bit of team adjustment. You know, when you've got Fizz starting mid for you, you kind of have to like rethink how you're going to do your jungle leash.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody with T-Rex arms, like a Midwick, which isn't something you see all that often, but something I used to be a big fan of. Midwick can't leash. Scion actually can if he takes shield first, but that's the only way he can do it. They got these little T-Rex arms that can't reach over the wall. So cute.
Yeah, unless you're the jungler, in which case it's annoying as they come, but that's all right. I'm sure you would appreciate later on having a large Arnold Schwarzenegger zombie coming around and shielding for you and stunning people.
Exactly.
But
exactly. Who doesn't like that?
I don't know. A strange person. We can see that Cassidy's already starting to try and do this trade and harass with his Null Sphere, even though he's only got the 1 point in it right now. So I definitely see Cassidy do this. When he's in lane, he really tries to stack up that damage as early and as often as he can, just to try and give him room to farm.
Both junglers making their way up to top lane with double buff, both of them seeing each other and deciding, you know, I don't really want to get into this. Nocturne lands a Dustbringer and Udyr just uses Bear Stance to run away.
Yeah, I mean, the Bear Stance is just really versatile for both attacking and defending and running like a little girl. So, I mean...
Excuse me, running like a giant ferocious bear, okay?
Okay, running like a giant ferocious bear little girl. There we go. You have a little bit of a trade going down here in the bottom lane. MF dropping extremely low. She'd started to target fire down Soraka, but you know, Soraka's heal combined with that armor boost means that she's just not going to kill the support before Ashe kills her. So, kind of a bad target choice in my opinion, just because when you're in these trades down here, especially with a sustain lane, you really shouldn't try and force the support out. You really need to try and make sure that the AD has to back away from you so you stop taking damage.
Yeah, it's that age-old question of the support is easier to kill. Yeah, but if you target down the support, the enemy AD carry is going to have free reign just to dump as much damage down on your face as they can. And yeah, this is the decision that MF made, and I agree with you. I don't think it really worked out all that well for her this time.
Yeah, I mean, just because she's not
now out of health potions. Look at that.
She's not going to kill Soraka before Ashe has hurt her really bad. Whereas I feel like if she just traded straight up with Ashe, Ashe would have had to back away.
Oh, Udyr coming up, forcing the flash out of TF in mid lane. TF's going to go ahead and ignite Udyr just to scare him away, back him off, and he's going to go about his business.
If we take a look at the farm right now, we do see a small lead starting to come out for Georgia Tech here. I'm trying to see if I can find where that is precisely, that there's a noticeable difference. So far, I have not. You know, in mid, there's a small lead for Arizona with Cassidy, you know, actually out-farming TF right now. You know, Shen and Jarvan are holding even. Ashe is getting a bit of a lead over MF, so that might be where we're starting to see a small gold disparity starting to creep in.
Yeah, it's probably 7 creeps right there. It's a couple hundred gold. I feel like Nocturne's actually getting higher value camps. I think Udyr maybe killed an extra Wraith camp or something like that. And so Nocturne maybe doesn't have quite as high of a CS number, but he's doing pretty well in gold for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. So at this point, I mean, everyone's playing a really passive, safe game right now here at the start. I mean, the bottom lane that was going to be trying to go so aggressive has kind of been knocked back on their heels by this really bad trade they had right at the start. You know, she's out of potions, so now she is behind the Ashe in terms of combat ability. And then we've got the first blood picked up on Twisted Fate in the mid there. Really nice gank coming up from Udyr. I'm going to go ahead and back up to make sure I can see exactly how that happened. Udyr came out of Twisted Fate's own jungle to land that Bear Stance stun and clean that up in his Phoenix stance. So yeah, absolutely. That was really well played coming out of Twisted Fate's own jungle to get that.
And oh, I like this. The pink ward going down, clearing out the ward on the dragon. Soraka wisely going to go out and place another ward down. You know, they saw where the pink ward was placed, so she knows where she can hide it in the shadow. That'll still give them some pretty decent vision, and won't give itself away.
Yeah, I mean, when the dragon is denied, one of the good places to ward right there is there instead of in the bush, because if you get it right there, you cover both that jungle exit and the river, so it gives you just a little bit more warning if someone's coming out. So if you're in the purple team support, that ward location is a great place to drop your wards.
Absolutely, yeah. So you see Udyr now, after having picked up that first blood money, he's going to go around and keep farming up the raise, and we'll see what he goes back for here in a moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take a look. His bottom lane still continuing to play just so very aggressively. Ashe not giving MF an opportunity to go back to base. Going to continue to push the creeps up to the tower. Going to continue to harass with volley and continue to make MF choose between losing an entire wave of CS or going back to base and getting the HP she desperately needs to play this lane the way she wants to.
Yeah, and the longer this goes on, it's just going to get harder and harder for her to do that. So you see that MF has decided that she is going to go back, so John is just going ahead and really aggressively trying to farm out these creeps to keep them off the turret.
Absolutely, yeah. And as you can see, you know, we're still going to end up with 5 creeps coming into the tower that MF's just not going to be around for. And MF actually kind of sitting at base a bit. She might miss the next wave as well if she doesn't get a move on.
So she did manage to pick up 2 Dorans and her Vampiric Scepter, so she's definitely looking to win these trades now.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the top lane. Finally starting to see a little bit of harass go down. Finally, Jarvan, after going back to buy his Philo Stone, actually using his first potion of the game now. And Shen, you know, they waited until they were level 6 and 7 to actually start harassing each other. Shen still has his cloth. Actually, he just used his first potion as well. Up until just a moment ago, he still had the cloth 5 that he started at the beginning of the game.
And the bottom lane has managed to take advantage of pushing out like that, just to go ahead and go back, do the purchases for themselves. We see that Ashe has picked up her Berserker Greaves and 2 Dorans, as well as a couple potions for herself, so she's also really well equipped for these trades. Shin also pushing out, picking up his Heart of Gold and his Ninja Tabi, so he's well equipped for that top lane. So far I'm seeing only item choices I like. In the mid, we got a bit of action going down right here with Udyr and Kassadin jumping on top of Nocturne, kind of a reverse gank there. The stun lands on TF as well. Kassadin is going to pick this up with the Null Sphere, picking up the double kill in the center on Kassadin. Yeah, absolutely brutal turnaround right there. Nocturne tried to come in on that, and Udyr just ambushed right there, and Kassadin was able to pick that up really neatly with his ultimate and his Null Sphere.
Yeah, absolutely. Nocturne just chased too far down the lane, not realizing how little damage TF is actually dealing right now. Obviously, Kassadin's passive, reducing any magic damage he does take by 15%. And you know, that just kind of set up a situation where you basically had Nocturne doing all the damage and TF providing just a little bit of CC. And as soon as Nocturne overextended on that, Udyr was able to just flash into him, get the bear stance done. And you know, once that got combined with red buff, that was really all she wrote for the poor Nocturne.
Yeah, and especially when you pick that up with someone like Kassadin, he's got a lot of inbuilt CC with his silence, with his slow, and then with that ultimate that just closes the gap so drastically.
TF ganking bottom lane.
It's really hard to run out. Yeah, we do have the TF jumping in there, trying to kind of make up for this, dropping a lot of damage. Ashe picking up the kill on Misfortune there, and Jonna's just gonna have to run. She can't actually try to do anything to try and revenge this.
Yeah, but now Kassadin and Ashe wisely throwing down the Hawkshot, knowing that he was probably coming, and I believe Hawkshot did spot him out on its way back.
Yeah, and we can see that he's just gonna go ahead and ult to get back towards his lane before Twisted Fate here.
If he spots TF, this is going to be really painful. Just going to drop a quick combo, take half his health away, and just walk away. Like, you know, that was enough. I don't need to kill you right now. I'll kill you slowly.
Yeah. I mean, he's got that blue buff, so right now he can absolutely spam his skills like crazy.
Soraka. Oh, Soraka, why? Gonna flash away, not gonna be enough. Oh, Kassadin actually choosing to flash. Shin's gonna ult in.
Ultimate ulting in, but he can't actually get in time. Just dropping her before Shin's ultimate is able to finish. Soraka getting caught out there in the jungle. I didn't actually see why she was in there.
I think she was going up toward this ramp because she knows that this is the easiest way to shut down Kassadin and Roam, is to deny him the opportunity to walk in this ramp and walk through their jungle and come up behind them. And Udyr's going to follow that exact path to come in on TF right now. Udyr does not have his flash, so he can't flash bear stance stun him, and TF does have his flash now, so he should be safe from any ganks.
Got the Nocturne ultimate coming off. Coming in up top, on top of Jarvan, along with Shin. Jarvan is dropping extremely low, trying to retreat towards the wrong turret. Gonna get picked off right there. He really had no way to get out of that intact. With both Nocturne and Shin on top of you, that's just too much crowd control to get out of.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as soon as that started, there was no way he was going to get out of that. And the Kassadin damage is strong. TF forced to back away behind his tower. And Udyr wants to try to make something of it.
Unfortunately, Nocturne is right there right now. If he had not been, that might have been a dead Twisted Fate right there.
Yeah, or, I mean, certainly some sort of crazy man-bear-pig dive. Udyr, he was out for blood.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was hoping just to land that bear stun to let Kassadin jump in on top of him there. You know, the range on that ultimate would have been enough to close the distance to let him get off his full combo and finish off Twisted Fate.
So we see Soraka is going to settle for the ward up here in this brush. Not exactly happy with the way things worked out for her last time. But
yeah, absolutely.
She's gonna walk right in. I think she was trying to kind of bait MF out, like, hey, MF, hit me a couple of times so that my Ashe can get on top of you and put down a lot of damage.
Instead, she just walked into a tornado.
Basically.
We do see the River Ward is picking up Udyr. Udyr is seeing that Shin backed off, so he's just going to go ahead and be backing right on out of that. Checked the blue, saw it wasn't there, and decided he's just going to move on.
Yeah, but that actually did clear the timer. So I don't know if they've actually noticed yet that Nocturne started with his red. I don't know if they've gained enough information to see that he started on his red buff. So the blue isn't going to be up for about another 30, 40 seconds. But as soon as it is up, now that Udyr has cleared that timer, they're going to know about it as soon as it comes up. And I think we could expect to see Cass. Oh, look at that damage. The thing is, Cass, that all he has for AP right now is a blasting wand. He's got 90 AP right now, and he's hitting that hard. Ugh.
So that is the power of Kassadin as a champion.
And Udyr.
And the reason that once he gets going, he's really dangerous. Udyr getting caught by Shen in the jungle here. Got Twisted Fate and Nocturne coming up after him. Kassadin is waiting in the bushes, but they really don't actually want to engage this right now. It is kind of not in their favor. So Udyr is actually turning back on him, not realizing Nocturne was there. Gets caught by the stun, by this taunt right there. Asher comes in and catches Kassadin, and all of a sudden that global ultimate from Ash turns what would have been a moderately fair fight into a complete wipeout in the middle there.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's gonna end up being 2 kills, 2 assists going to Ash, the splash damage from the arrow actually helping to take Udyr down, and it's gonna mean a free dragon. And Shen, he's just gonna be able to teleport back at the top, and Arizona's gonna get nothing for this. Absolutely nothing.
See that Shen is actually thinking about backing.
As soon as the dragon burn stops, I'm able to go back to base. Had to try it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, that's always a really frustrating feeling when you hit the back button, you start opening the shop, planning your things, you realize you haven't gone back. It's been like 15 seconds. That's always one of those awkward moments. So when you've been doing Dragon, make sure you actually keep an eye on that.
So yeah, Shin goes back, picks up an Aegis and a Heart of Gold, and teleports back up the top lane. He's got Ninja Tabby, Heart of Gold, Aegis, and I have to say at this point, I don't think Jarvan can really do anything to him.
Yeah, I mean, any AD champion who's doing physical damage is going to have a lot of trouble touching Shen right now, just because he's got so much armor. He's at 129 armor and 2,000 health.
Yeah,
it's going to be really hard to try and melt through that.
I like this play by Udyr. Even though that last fight really did not go in their advantage, he went ahead and picked up the Oracle right now anyway, knowing that I think he kind of feels like that gank was just kind of a confluence of unfortunate events. I think he feels like it was just kind of unfortunate there were so many people around when he tried to go in for the fight, and so he feels like he's still ahead, still has the opportunity to kind of exercise that advantage.
Yeah, he is coming in, checking the red buff, seeing that Nocturne had picked it up, and he's just going to go ahead and pull back out of that fight. So again, we're seeing both teams just kind of waiting for an opportunity to present itself. They've kind of waited for the opportunities to happen. Neither team is pushing too hard to try and make them happen, which I think is kind of the right choice right now because if you stick your neck out too far against this team from Georgia Tech, you're going to get jumped in on like at the bottom lane with Twisted Fate jumping in on with that Ash arrow. And the flash from Misfortune. Nocturne ultimate coming in on top of Janna. Another stun landed on Misfortune, and she will go down to Ash right there. Janna getting out with her life, but only barely. And again, there's that global ultimate. You stick your neck out too far, and you've got 2 people coming in from across the map to take you out.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing about Nocturne. This is not enough ward coverage. This won't keep you safe. And honestly, the real question is, what will? And Kassadin's going to fight Soraka all on her own. Will he be able to put down the damage before Ash can come to her rescue? The exhaust goes down. Ash turning around. She's got the frost shot going down. They're trying to slow Kassadin. Is he going to be able to blink over the wall? The silence from Soraka is going to keep him from blinking over the wall and will give TF an easy kill. Fantastic play there.
Absolutely brutal shutdown. The Janna tornado coming in slowed Ash just a little bit, but then when you have Nocturne and Twisted Fate come down from mid lane and just shut off your only avenue of escape, you're just praying your ultimate comes off cooldown and it just can't come fast enough.
Oh man, wow, that's Soraka's silence. Kassadin, he was mashing that R button, and I mean mashing to beat the band. He was going to town on that thing, but just not able to break away. Ugh.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Absolutely. And we can see the top lane, they're mostly just kind of like slapping each other. They're not really doing enough damage to kill each other unless they stay way too long. So they're just kind of pushing their lanes to turrets and then backing to buy things. So top lane's kind of uninteresting until someone else shows up.
Yeah, basically right now. I think if Shen goes for a fast wits in, that might change a little bit. But other than that, I really don't see either one of them doing significant damage to the other, just specifically to the other. Obviously to everybody else in the game, they're going to be hitting pretty hard. But Jarvan, he's got the phage now. He's the slow proc's going to be strong. He's going to have a lot of work to do. Cassidy and Udi are coming down trying to make a 4-man gank happen in the bottom lane. They're getting picked up on a ward, though. Will Udyr swing around far enough to see this is the question. And the answer is yes.
Like
he will. But not before he goes to help us up to some break. Okay, no, there he goes. And they will see Nocturne coming on the board, and they're like, okay, I'll leave Raze for some other time.
We do have him coming in.
TF.
Cass ulting in on top of that, dropping the no speed. We've got the Shen ultimate coming down. And Udyr has to flash out of it to try and get out alive. Cassidy getting hit by that stun, getting the fear tethers, having to flash and ult to get away. We've got Nocturne and Shen chasing under the turret.
Oh, TF.
Ultimate plan. However, Jarvan comes in and jumps on top of him with his ultimate, drops the arena, does a lot of damage, forces Twisted Fate to back away from this, and it looks like there won't be any casualties just yet. Really tense fight there. If not for Jarvan showing up, that would have been one dead Kassadin, however.
Yeah, I mean, it was very scary. TF had the gold card locked. The thing that would have been interesting is if Kassadin was able to get the silence before it. Oh, wow, actually in the bottom lane, trying to get work. Nocturne's ulting too. So much action going on everywhere. Nocturne's going to die. Jarvan's going to flash away, and I think he's going to be safe. Here comes Udyr with the stun. And yes, everyone will make it out alive. Shin's going to take a lot of damage. Oh, Udyr. Oh, the ignite goes down. Udyr, I think he's going to fall.
The ignite. Yes, Udyr will go down to Twisted Fate there.
Yep, and that's 400 gold down the drain. That's really unfortunate. Shin peeling out in the brush right beside Kassadin there.
Soraka getting caught by Kassadin again. And, however, she does have the team there. She will flash out of that. And then, he comes back up to follow her, runs for it.
Oh, Jarvan!
Coming over the wall on top of Twisted Fate, getting taken down by the cards, though. Kassadin does manage to kill Soraka. And then Jarvan's did manage to pick up the Twisted Fate there. And then Kassadin's going to deal a little bit of extra damage onto Nocturne before pulling away from that. Getting caught by Ashe. Having
Here comes
to ult
the Shin!
Shin
Great taunt! Will they have the damage? Ashe needs one more auto attack. Will Shin be able to clean this up? Kassadin ults away!
And Kassadin ults away, surviving with 19 hit points.
Oh my goodness.
Just barely escaping with his sanity.
Oh man, you have to wonder why Ashe didn't. Oh, and no mana. Oh, that Ashe. She's got to be just raging, like pounding on her keyboard right now that she didn't have mana for the arrow. That would have been the snipe of the year right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a series of unbelievably brutally long fights going on right now in the mid. I mean, just both teams just keep cycling in and out. They drop low, they go back to base, they come right back in and resume fighting. So, really, really tense game we've been having here. And I don't know, we've got a strong lead picked up for Georgia Tech, but at the same time, I feel like this could still swing in either direction.
Well, it's gonna come down to the Kassadin. He's their strongest late game threat. Jarvan late game is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Udyr's late game is pretty strong, but it's not Shen late game, and it's definitely not Ashe late game. MF compared to Ashe late game is not the kind of comparison that Arizona wants to be drawing right now. They really needed MF to do a lot of work early, and to the Ashe's credit, that wasn't something that happened. Ashe, 20 minutes in, she's got the Infinity Edge. She's got actually the second crit cloak rather than going for a Zeal. I guess she just had gold for the crit cloak. I was like, I'd rather get stronger right now than wait to get stronger when I have enough gold for Zeal. And obviously, crit cloak on Ashe is better than it is on just about any other character or any other AD carry just because of her passive. There's such a strong interaction there when you increase the critical chance that you really get your money's worth. Yeah,
absolutely, and that not only helps with your critical hit chance for your normal attacks and for when you've got those delays, but when you pick up that early Infinity Edge, her passive means that if she's been out of a fight for a while, when she comes back in, she starts it off with a little bit of extra pain. A lot of action suddenly starting at the bottom, jumping in on top of Kassadin with Nocturne, Ashe, and Soraka there. MF blows the ultimate just to try and give him some space. Nocturne following up though, not afraid of this at all. We've got Twisted Fate ulting in, landing the yellow card, and his 3 cards almost picking off Kassadin, but not quite. Shen ulting in on top of Twisted Fate here. They are under the turret now, so they're not sure if they're going to keep chasing. Looks like they are going to back away from that. Kassadin having to get back into base though, with almost no health. I mean, he's at 86 health, that's 1 shot away from death. So Kassadin's just getting driven out of these fights way too early to be able to do anything relevant.
Yeah, Kassadin tried to get cheeky and jump in on Ashe Soraka and get what he thought was going to be free damage. And Ashe had absolutely no compunction about just turning around and hitting with an arrow and starting the fight. Dragon going down at 21:42. We'll see the respawn at 27:42. And Jarvan, due to Shen's teleport being down, able to take top tower while Shen was away trying to help his team.
Yeah, so, I mean, Jarvan made the right choice there to just stick through and finish off the turret. Try and get a little bit of that global gold coming in to try and keep the two teams somewhat in balance here. He is going to run right into Shin here, and Shin's just going to give him a little bit of a, a dagger, say hi. I mean...
Absolutely, yeah, and Shin did get back just in time to stop the Jarvan. Oh, wow, but Caston jumping in on Nocturne. The exhaust goes down, and he's not able to put any damage down at all. Ash picking up a great kill on Caston while he's standing on top of the Nocturne that he wanted so badly to kill.
Absolutely, we can see that Jarvan is coming in from the side here to try and reinforce this turret. The blue team's really strong here. Georgia Tech has a strong chance of pushing into this turret and bringing it down, unless they, all gathered right there. And so, Arizona did make the right choice to try and all defend here and break up that push. But at the same time, jumping on top of Soraka, she flashes out of the arena, has to, burn that flash there, is going to get followed under the turret by Jarvan. It's dropping really low, and going to have to, use her heal on herself just to get out of that alive. Ash Arrow did, in fact, miss, so that is an Ash Arrow down right now. So, Arizona knows this. They might try and put a little bit of pressure on this turret. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Ash is actually here now, and as is Nocturne, and yeah, they're going to be able to keep the tower relatively safe. But it looks like Arizona's not willing to concede the point yet. Udyr going in, dropping a ward, seeing TF, and realizing that they're probably going to be able to maintain their positioning well enough to not find a disfavorable fight, so that everybody's just going to back away.
Yeah, I almost felt like Arizona was thinking about trying to go for the Baron there, and then realizing that, Georgia Tech's just a little too close, a little bit too ready. They really can't jump the Baron just yet, because if they're caught at it, they're not strong enough to fight Baron and the other team right now. We do have the, Twisted Fate ultimate going off just to see where they are, just to see if they are actually going for that Baron. He is ulting in here in the middle, going to try and pick somebody off. However, we have Udyr using that bear stance to get some distance. We've got Nocturne jumping in on top of Caston, and Caston has to ult out of that, wasting that damage. Got the stun going down on Janna, of all people. She's dropping extremely quickly, taking a massive amount of damage. Nocturne himself is also dipping low. Jarvan getting caught out and picked off by Ash. Fear Tethers have gone down on Udyr. He does manage to outdistance that with his bear stance. Ash Arrow coming down, landing on Misfortune, landing on Cassidon. Both of them dropping extreme low. Janna getting picked up. Shin popping the ghost, following Cassidon to pick up that kill there. And this turret's going to go down.
Absolutely, yeah. Fantastic fight there. I mean, a little bit of a goofy initiate, like it kind of got chain initiated there. Like a fight broke out, then a fight disengaged, then another fight broke out, and then that got disengaged with a Janna ult. But then they were able to stick it out and make the fight happen anyway. And I especially love the point blank combination of Ash and Nocturne stunning at a range of about 500-600. It's just like arrow into Nocturne ult, and Nocturne just like kind of moved 3 inches across the screen and did all of his paranoia damage. It's just kind of funny to watch. But wow, so much work done there by Georgia Tech Zeeb, extending the gold lead to 8,500 and taking the first inhibitor of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that Udyr was trying so hard to catch someone while they were recalling. He desperately wanted that. He popped his bear stance twice, just trying to get it. They are making a straight approach to the Baron. Then they are actually going to change their minds, move into these bushes, and try and wait to ambush, see if they can catch someone out here.
This is great play. Twisted Fate's ult is not quite up yet, and they kind of were walking to the Baron, so they know that Georgia Tech is going to have to kind of react to that. But now I kind of know what they were doing. I thought they were trying to bait the Baron and hide in a brush, but then they actually went and aggroed Baron. The Hawk Shot's going to reveal what's going on, and I don't know about that.
Yeah, they're going to have to actually back away from this. I don't think Arizona can fight this. We've got Twisted Fate ulting in again. Going to try and catch out Misfortune here. However, with that strut, she's going to just dodge everything and get back to her team okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ash Arrow is down, but now they're going to try to take advantage of the fact that Arizona is backing away, and their ping is going down on the Baron. Is this going to be the play? They have started it. I got to say, this is a bit scary.
Arizona is right here. They're thinking about trying to contest this. They drop the ward, and they know that they're there. The ult from Misfortune is going down. Doesn't really do anything. It kind of tickles everybody. And then all of a sudden, Jarvan ulting in, trying to deal some damage. Instead, he's just taking a lot of damage. Udyr coming in from the side, taking a beating as well. They did not come at this as a group. And so instead, they're just going to get picked apart by the combined mass of Georgia Tech. Nocturne jumping in. Janna blows the ultimate to get him off. And they're going for this. Udyr flashes in to try and steal, does not manage it, gets caught by that stun from Shin. He does get taunted, so he's not able to smite. And Nocturne picks that up really efficiently for his team. They are just going to go ahead and ping the Nexus turrets. 3 members of Arizona are down, so if Georgia Tech just pushes this, they've got this. Yep, and there is the surrender vote coming out from Arizona.
Wow, very nicely played there by Georgia Tech. like they took a team that had kind of a stronger mid and late game presence and actually were able to work it through to kind of gain a little bit of an advantage in the early game. Really, the only thing that went right for Arizona during that game was that Kassadin double kill, which was very, very strong. But it was kind of the only thing that really ended up working out well for them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that last fight at Baron could have gone so much better for Arizona if they had just gone in together. They split up and came around the sides. And, you know, pincer movements in League of Legends are always extremely dangerous because when you divide your own team like that, you're just kind of asking to get, you know, if the entire team just turns on one person, it can burst them down so fast that, you know, by the time the people who are on the other side of their team catch up to get into the fight, half their team is dead. So, in some senses, I feel like they should have just knotted into 5 and gone in from one direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there's one... okay, they're saying, yeah, when it gets made, so the game's been over for 3 minutes and no one's made the new lobby yet. Okay. So, I mean, if there's one mistake, one thing that you see people mess up when they go to defend objectives like Dragon or Baron, it's that they come in from both sides and they split their forces, and it's just like divide and conquer, and you just did it to yourself. I mean, you came at it from split angles. You saw MF came in there and Ash just crushed her, and Jarvan tried to kind of reinitiate, and you know he similarly just got absolutely crushed. Interesting. Trove has made the game this game. Oh, okay, so it looks like the next lobby is up. I'm actually getting messages. A message from Chris Brownie, who's another player on the Arizona team. He was not playing in that last game, but we'll see if the addition to him in this next game will be able to kind of turn things around.
Yeah, I mean, and then I would just like to point out that what is the role of champions like Aurelia or Jarvan in the team fights? They try to, or Olaf especially, is they go into the other team, they do a lot of damage, they go straight for the carry.